You've talked a lot about culture and partnership. Are you and Terry now on the same contractual timeline, and is that important?
Look, we don't disclose contract length. We're on the same page, and that's all that matters. Is that Terry and I, from day one, we've been on the same page. We communicate openly. Terry knows the goals, what we're trying to accomplish. He has all of our support. Look, contracts are compensation. And I know it sounds like it's alliteration, but it is. I mean, look, the goal for all of us that love being in this business and being in this game is to be employed, so we get to continue to contribute to it. So the rest of it is just about money. Nobody in this business doesn't get fired because they have a contract. And nobody stays employed because they have a contract. They stay employed because of the quality of their work. I worked for an organization for 10 years. I never had a contract. And I never felt like I was at risk of getting fired. I was doing a pretty good job. So I think what's most important is that from Paul Allen, to myself, to Terry, to the players, to the coaches, is that we're all pulling the rope in the same direction. As long as we pull it in a way where this organization is in a stable place, we're winning and we're successful, then we'll all be here as a group.
You maybe, though, speak to how Terry has helped develop the culture here.
Well, look, of course he did. I mean, look,
just before he answers that, I want to make sure that everything that the culture was started with Neil, and I think we complement each other well. But the culture was started the day Neil got the job, and how just every year things got better. The players that came in, how the facility has changed, how the players are treated. Everything started with Neil, and I do think Neil and I really complement each other well. Obviously, we have, for those of you who know him, know me, we're a little bit different in some ways. But I think it's a great working relationship, and I think the culture is a byproduct of what he started and then how it's evolved since then. But go ahead.
But I think, to Terry's point, I remember when we were doing the coaching search, everybody wanted this immediacy, and we really felt like it was important to know what our roster was going to look like back then. If you guys remember, we weren't dragging our feet. We were just being patient because it was important to know what kind of a team were we bringing in, and what kind of coach would best support those decisions that we had. And, you guys remember that July. I mean, we were in a state of flux. I mean, we could have gone with a win now, kind of team, or a rebuild. And, and look, nobody knew at that point, that Damian was going to be a franchise caliber player day one, which got us a lot closer where we wanted to go. But, we purposely chose Terry and pursued Terry at a time because he was so well suited to help build with us. And I think that's the key, is that, if you're hearing one narrative from the front office and another from the coaching staff, you're going to have a divide, and eventually it fractures and breaks. So, our players know from the coaching staff, front office, ownership, they're our priority. And that's where our core business lies. And I think one of the things that Terry respected coming in was that he doesn't make it about him. I don't make it about me. We make it about the guys, and I think they respond to that. Look, and I would like you to ask Chris. I mean, Chris has been with multiple organizations. Here's a guy who's an NBA All-Star. He came here for one role. He adapted and went to another role, but how he was treated never changed. And the respect that we showed Chris never changed, and we valued what he did, even if it was more off the court this year than on the court. And I think that's the message we want to send out publicly and internally, is that when you come here, you will be our priority. And we're subordinate to that. I mean, we're vehicles to make sure that that happens.